What's up, movie fans? Guys, so we just got a brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Thor: Love and Thunder. It's the fourth Thor movie, so I just saw it a few days ago at the time I'm recording this, and so I'm gonna give you all of my thoughts on this movie, everything I liked about it, everything I disliked. This was a movie that I was very excited for because even though the first two Thor movies weren't that good, Thor Ragnarok was fantastic and Taika Waititi was returning for this one, so I was very excited for this movie, and so I'm gonna give you everything I liked, everything I disliked, and then my final score. But before that, I'm gonna do something that I think I'm gonna start doing in all of my reviews, and that is I'm going to first give you my general thoughts, and then I'm gonna get into some more specifics. So, starting with my general thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm a little bit mixed on this movie, if I'm being totally honest. There are a lot of really good things about it, but there are also some major problems with this movie that took me out of it. So I think that this movie might be one of my least favorite MCU movies of Phase 4, honestly. I was kind of disappointed with some elements in it. So getting into what I mean by that, starting with the good, because like I said, there are a lot of things in this movie that are really good. I still think that this is mostly an alright movie, so some of the things that I really liked about it. First off, this movie is not as entertaining and funny as Thor Ragnarok, but it is still extremely entertaining and funny. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's hilarious at some points. It's very fast-paced, and there's just a lot of energy to it. So I think that I have a lot of fun with this movie. So that's the first major good thing about it. I think that another thing that kind of contributes to that is I think that a lot of the action sequences in this movie are very well done. Specifically, the very first one in the whole movie was really fun, and like it just immediately got me pumped. I really liked the opening 10 minutes of this movie. Just fast-paced nature of this movie are all really fun, and I really enjoyed it. I also really like a lot of the things that they do with the characters in this movie, getting into some of the characters. I think what they do with Thor here is very well done. They've kind of been giving him this very long arc since Thor Ragnarok, and I think that this is the perfect way to continue that arc. They established in Avengers Infinity War the fact that he's basically lost everyone who really holds meaning in his life. He lost Loki, he lost Heimdall, Odin, his mother, his friends, just everyone who he loves in his life, he's lost. And so in this movie, he's kind of cut himself off from people because he doesn't want to be hurt like that again. But throughout the movie, he kind of starts opening up more to Jane, and the two of them start kind of repairing their relationship. And I thought that that was a really nice direction to go in. The other great character in this movie is Jane, surprisingly enough, because I don't think that Jane's that great of a character in the first two Thor movies. She's definitely one of the weakest, side characters in the MCU. I don't think that Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth ever had that much chemistry, honestly, and I just wasn't very interested in her. Here, she is a lot better. I think that Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, for whatever reason, just have a lot more chemistry in this movie, and I think that they work much better together, especially the way that they interact and how Jane's storyline is done. Jane's storyline goes to some very dark, interesting places, and I thought that there were a lot of really emotional elements to it. I really liked what they did with Jane in this movie. I think that she was vastly improved upon here. Gore the God Butcher, he was alright. I think that he's way too overhyped, Honestly, a lot of people have been saying, oh, he's one of the best villains in the whole MCU, and he was just fantastic. He was okay. I don't really have that much more to say about him. Like, I don't even think he's one of the best villains in the Thor franchise. I think that both Loki and Hela are better than him. I liked Korg. He's hilarious, as always. Valkyrie, I wish, had a little bit more to do here, but she's mostly fine. The Guardians aren't in this movie a lot. They're only in it for, like, a combined total of 5 minutes, but they were fun for the time that they had. Ultimately, yeah, there's a lot of elements about this movie that I had a lot of fun with. Now, getting into my problems, because like I said, I am mixed on this movie, and I have 3 major problems with this movie. First off, the story for this movie needed a lot of work. The story just did not really work for me. There were a lot of elements that I thought came out of nowhere. It was just really weird. It was structured in a weird way where I think this is the first superhero movie I have ever seen in my life where when you get to the final battle, I legitimately was not sure if it was the final battle. And I don't know how exactly to describe what I mean there, but it was just the story of this movie was structured in a weird way. Second off, I think the pacing in this movie is very fun. It's very fast-paced. It had me entertained. But that also is a bit of a problem in some moments, because there are some moments where the fast pacing, I think it needed to slow down a little bit and let some moments breathe. And so as a result, I think that there were a lot of moments in this movie that would have had more impact had the pacing been a bit less fast. Than my biggest problem with this movie. I think this movie is very tonally inconsistent. This is the thing that I think really ruined a lot of elements of this movie for me. This is a movie that has some incredibly dark elements to it, with Jane and Gore's storylines. There's like plot lines about cancer and plot lines about revenge because Gore's daughter died, and like all of those really dark, terrible elements. And this movie's a comedy in a lot of scenes. So there were a lot of moments where that did not blend well together. I think that there were a few moments where it definitely did work, but there were just a lot of moments in this movie where I think they should have not had the tone as light as it was. So overall, like I said, there are a lot of elements that I really like, but there are also a lot of elements that I was kind of disappointed about. So overall, Thor Love and Thunder is okay. I do think that if you enjoyed Ragnarok and you really like that movie, you definitely should give this a try. But if that's like really not your style, maybe just wait until this comes to Disney Plus or something. No. But overall, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe and comment down below what you thought of Thor Love and Thunder if you've seen it. And see ya, movie fans.